Mr. Glowry used to say that his house was no better than a spacious kennel, for everyone in it led the life of a dog. Thomas Love Peacock, Nightmare Abbey. It had been a long winter, and the spring of 1807 seemed an unconscionable time in coming. The days were blustery and cold, the skies leaden and dismal. But in the heart of London's Mayfair, there were already signs that spring was struggling through the gloom. Daffodils were blowing in the tussocky grass of Hyde Park, and a cherry tree at the corner of South Audley Street raised its weighted branches of pink blossom to the lowering sky. Outside the townhouses, from Grosvenor Square to St. James's Square, brass was being energetically polished, window frames painted, and steps scrubbed in preparation for the season. In fact, despite the chill, there was noise and bustle everywhere, from the blackbirds carolling on the rooftops to the hurrying servants in their new liveries in the streets below, who were looking forward to the season with all its promise of abundant food and extra money. Everywhere, that is, except number 67 Clarges Street. The house at number 67 seemed at first glance to be in mourning. The shutters were closed, and its black thin frontage stared down on the fashionable street like a gloomy undertaker. There were 2 iron hounds chained on the wide doorstep, gazing down at their paws as if they had long ago given up any hope of freedom. Although it was the fashion during each London season to hire a house in Mayfair at a disproportionately high rent for sometimes very inferior accommodation, number 67 stood empty and appeared likely to remain so, despite the fact that the rent was reasonable and the building in good repair. The sad fact was that in an age when gambling fever ran high and everyone from a lord to a scullery maid was superstitious, number 67 had been damned as unlucky, and no mamma, hopeful of finding a good marriage for her daughter, was going to risk incurring the wrath of those pagan gods who looked down on the exclusive world of the top 10,000. The house was owned by the 10th Duke of Pelham, a young man, the 9th Duke having hanged himself in the house at Clarges Street. The suicide of the 9th Duke was not the only reason why the house had remained vacant for 2 seasons, and seemed likely to remain so for a third. One family, who had taken the house the season